All right, Thomas, thanks again for joining us today. And let's get started. Let's start off with, can you walk us through your background? Where you're from, any relevant work experience you have, uh, your major, and then what experience and skills do you think you'll bring to this internship?
All right. So I'm from Houston, Texas. So I'm not exactly the most ag-versed city in all of Texas, but uh let's see, work experience. I don't necessarily have any ag-related work experience, but I have worked. I was a lifeguard a couple summers. What else? My major is agribusiness, the dual major through Texas Tech, and skills that I might be able to provide. I feel like I have a strong sense of teamwork and being able to understand what others expect of me and what is required of me for the position, and ideally being able to follow through with it in a timely manner.
Okay. Well, so tell me about this South Texas Ranch Brigade. I can't even say the word brigade. Sorry about that. What was that exactly?
So that was actually kind of that is sort of the program that cinched ag as the field that I want to spend my life working with, or at least a lot of my life working with. It's a program in South Texas. I can't remember the exact town,
Mhm.
but it's a privately
Three.
owned ranch
Okay.
where for a week over the summer you work on this ranch sort of, and not just say work, but it's a classroom activity. So sometimes you're in the field working hands-on with animals, learning about the process of raising them and medicine and breeding. And then there's a classroom aspect where they bring in professionals, people that have been working this for years and years, and they talk to you about grass and getting cattle on grass and breeding and how to own and operate a ranch and the things you might need to do to raise money, such as drill for oil, sell game hunting, things like that. And that program, if I could have done it for more years, I definitely would have. But I loved it. That single-handedly got me on track for ag, and I've never looked back since.
All right, fantastic. So you were also Texas, the FFA. You were in FFA as well, it looks like.
Yes, ma'am. For only one year, I was on the broadcasting team
All
for
right.
my school district.
All right, that's cool. In Houston.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, was there anything in particular? So you kind of talked about what brought you into ag. Is there anything in particular that struck you about this, working with cooperatives?
I was really interested in the sort of the commodities aspect of all these different people and groups coming together and sort of trading with each other on these futures and these markets. And the fact that this cooperative can act as a middleman and a trading place for all of these different uh, groups to be able to come together and figure out what they want to do to improve all of their economic standings.
So here at TACC, we serve several industries. For our internships, it's mostly going to be cotton ginning, grain, farm supply. Was there any particular industry you were interested in, or are you just kind of an open book?
I am definitely open to it because whatever experience I can get, I classify as good. But farm products and cotton definitely won out over grain for me. Just
Mhm.
because I mean, being here in Lubbock, I've been here for a year and a half,
Mhm.
and I'm sort of become used to seeing cotton everywhere, and I've just been into and every day you wear clothing. Cotton's very important. So that would be interesting to me. And farming products, just the concept of just the machinery that gets food on people's plates, that stuff is interesting to me as well.
Okay. All right. So oftentimes our internships can be a little bit unstructured. So can you talk about a time when you've had to, do well, work in a environment with minimal direction?
Uh, Sorry, the biggest example I could have for that is I was a Boy Scout from sixth grade to senior year of high school, and in that time, as I was older, I was on our troops leadership program. I was on the in a leadership program where I was an assistant leader. So I wasn't necessarily the first in charge, or at least I wasn't supposed to be. But what happened was our senior patrol leader, that was his title, he got really sick, and he's okay now. But during that time, he had to step away, and I sort of had to take command of the troop. for specifically the meetings, because every Tuesday we would have a meeting, and I was already kind of in charge of those in my position, but he, while I was usually in charge of just running them and setting them up, he was more so in charge of the making sure they ran smoothly. So now so once he was out of the picture, not only did I have to set them up, but I had to make sure they ran smoothly and make sure everything was. I was already in charge of making sure everything was organized, but now I had to make sure the people that were participating in it were organized. And so that was probably the biggest. And also, Boy Scouts is a kind of unstructured thing to begin with. It's a lot of high schoolers and boys just kind of hanging out. So that opportunity really allowed me to grow as a leader, I would say.
Okay. So on your resume, you highlight a little bit of coursework that you think is relevant. Tell us about some of the coursework that you think is relevant to this internship.
So obviously, ag-related coursework is what I deemed as probably most prevalent. I that program that I did, South Texas Ranch Brigade, I was recommended by one of my professor or my teachers my junior year. That was the first time I'd ever tried anything ag-related because I had some friends that were in the program and I'd seen it was very well thought out. And I joined, and that class, livestock management, was another thing that really got me interested. He's the teacher that recommended me for the program, and the course was learning the ins and outs of getting animals and crops and all sorts of other agricultural products, not just food, from the production to growing them. Specifically, cattle was kind of the main focus, and getting them on grass and growing them up, getting them to feedlots, getting them out to the slaughterhouses where they're then packaged based on what the cut of meat is, and getting it to the from the distributor to the consumer. And that course, along with a couple others such as natural range management and keeping good care of your land, really got me I think a lot of experience with just the basic groundwork of ag, from going from pretty much nothing, just being a city boy in Houston, to kind of being immersed in this whole career and field. And I think that course specifically was one of my bigger stepping stones for a program.
Great. Okay, so your, expected graduation date's May 2028, so you got some time, but have you thought any about your future, what type of career you're looking for? Tell me about that.
So I mean, obviously, like you said, I have time, and I've been thinking about it more recently. What with this internship coming up, and I've sort of been thinking about just my future and work in general, not just with this program with TACC. But one of the big things that I've looked at for a while is commodities, like I mentioned earlier, because my dad, he used to be a reporter, but nowadays he works as a not necessarily he's an editor for this newspaper that they buy data from producers and compile it into sort of a news format specifically to sell to industries. It's not really for just the average person because basically just raw data. And part of that there's a lot of branches within the company, and one of them is specifically ag futures and ag commodities. And sort of he's been in that position for almost my entire life, so I've become versed in how his company works and the concept of futures and commodities, and how to sort of look at the market from a broader standpoint, not get too bogged down in the nitty gritty. So, and last school year, I took a macroeconomics course where again you're looking at the full market and the full economy. And I've been that I think that is sort of something I would want to do one day, is that futures and commodities and markets.
Okay, so that's something you've gotten interested in. Wonderful. So, what do you hope to gain from this internship that'll help you in your future plans?
So obviously, I know there's opportunities for time or for hours for a senior level course, but my major, I believe, doesn't. I don't really need a whole lot of that. So that kind of, if anything, I think that sort of helped because I was going to do those courses anyways, and now um, I'm fully in it for the focus of work experience and networking and learning the ins and outs of the ag world. Because, like I said, I don't have any real work experience with ag. So I'm hoping this opportunity would allow me to be part or learn the ins and outs, learn the people, learn the product line and what work I might be doing one day. So experience, I would say, experience and networking are the biggest things.
Okay, great. All right, so again, our recording, we're going to share it with the host cooperative. So tell me 3 reasons why this host cooperative should choose you as an intern.
Three reasons. One would I think would be friendly demeanor. I try to be, especially in a physical workplace. I that's where I thrive, and I try to be courteous to everyone, and I want to work together because I know everyone's there for the same reason at the end of the day. And I want to be sort of part of the machine, the cog in the machine that gets the job done. And I might as well try to help as many people be cheery about it and make it go smoothly as possible. Another is my attitude towards work. And while obviously nobody wants to work too much, that's the whole point of working is that so you don't have to. I my attitude is obviously keep your head down and get it done no matter what occurs in your external life. And so I've tried to, especially now that I'm in college, I've shifted my attitude to sort of thinking of myself already in the workplace, and that's helped me keep track of assignments and making sure I study with speed but also efficiency. And then lastly, I would say is my personal organizational strategies, like I said, um, and which is something I've definitely been improving on, specifically this semester. I've been sort of keeping myself more organized internally, so that way I can be more externally organized, keep time management on my side. And I've started that by learning how to cook for myself. I've been staying on top of not just schoolwork, but external work. Whenever my dad or my mom say I need something done, trying to manage that has sort of trickled through my entire life. And so I feel more organized personally with what others expect of me and with school. So I would say those are my biggest three things that I feel contribute to the workplace.
All right, wonderful. Okay, we're going to stop recording and then just